we want to talk about climate change. We give some causes, then talk about some effects, and also comment on how humans have been coping with climate change, and give some mitigations. My colleague is going to tell us more about climate change and give us some causes of climate change.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll be talking on giving a definition of climate and climate change. Climate refers to the atmospheric condition that has been prevailing over an area for a long period of time, while climate change refers to a long-term shift in temperature and weather pattern, which this shift is actually caused by natural factors or man-made factors. My fellow classmates continue to give the natural factors that caused climate change.
Good afternoon, everyone. Climate change are being caused by so many prevailing natural factors and man-made factors. Some natural factors include volcanicity, earthquakes, collision in meteorites, and atmospheric changes. I'll start with volcanicity. Volcanicity, this is the emission of gases through eruption, which, when these gases are being emitted, gases like methane and carbon dioxide are being emitted into the atmosphere, which changes the climate because it causes ozone layer depletion. Next, meteorite collision of meteorites. These are when rocks in the atmosphere. This occurs when different rocks in the atmosphere, known as meteorites, collide with each other and causes a total complete change in climate. And this collision leads to what we call acidic rains. Also, we have earthquakes, which is the complete trembling or shaking of the earth's crust. When earthquakes occurs in certain areas, it emits gases such as methane, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide into the atmosphere, which are all gases which causes ozone layer depletion, leading to greenhouse effects. My colleague, on the other hand, is going to talk on the human causes or anthropological causes.
Okay, I'll be talking on the anthropogenic causes or human causes of climate change. These are causes which man cause climate change. For example, we have things like urbanization, industrialization, agriculture, poor waste management. I'll begin with industrialization. In the 1750s, when the industrialization began, man began to use fossil fuels we burn fossil fuels like carbon, oil, gas, which we are using to live our mechanized lifestyle. We need energy to live. So this burning of fossil fuel produces gases like carbon dioxide, oxides, and methane, which goes to the atmosphere and increase the greenhouse effect. Also, I'll talk on agriculture. In the agricultural process, we use chemicals and fertilizers to produce our crops, which these fertilizers also produce gases like nitrous oxide, methane, and oxide. These gases go to the atmosphere, also increase the greenhouse gas effect, which also increase the climate change. I'll also talk about deforestation. This is the cutting down of trees. When you cut down these trees that store carbon dioxide, the carbon is bound to be emitted to the atmosphere. When this carbon goes to the atmosphere, increase the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, also causes climate change. Also, I'll talk about poor waste management. You can now see in our environment, you see where there's litter dirt all over. This dirt produces methane. When this methane mixes with other pollutants in our environment, they go up to the atmosphere and produce the greenhouse effect. Also, I'll talk about urbanization. What's urbanization? This is the increasing number of people living in urban areas. You can see in our world, there are so many urban areas. For example, our town BUEA, there's so many people living in BUEA. So when we live in BUEA, we do personal activities like deforestation, waste management, transportation. All these activities produces gas like methane, carbon dioxide, which they all go to the atmosphere. It also causes climate change. Thank you. My colleague is going to continue.
So I'm going to be talking on greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases, these are gases which trap infrared radiations from the sun and reflecting it back to the Earth's surface. These gases act as a blanket at the surface of the Earth, which increase heat and thereby increasing the temperature of the planet, of the Earth's surface. Also, some of these greenhouse gases are methane, ozone, carbon dioxide, carbon fluorocarbons, and all the like. So I'm going to talk on some few of the greenhouse gases. I'm going to start with water vapor. Water vapor is the gaseous state of water, which makes up the highest volume of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This comes from the heating of water sources such as the sea, rivers, and plants, and respiration from plants and animals. I'm going to talk next on chlorofluorocarbons. These are the smallest volume of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, but they are considered as high greenhouse gases because each mass of it consumes has a higher amount of heat compared to carbon dioxide. Then next I'm going to talk on my colleague will talk more on carbon dioxide.
Okay everyone, I'll continue from where he ended. We also have carbon dioxide and methane, which act as greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases absorb radiation and re-radiate them, and this has caused so much problems to the whole world as a whole, to the population as a whole. On the part of methane, methane has a formula CH4. Methane is released from coal mining, for mobile combustion, from agricultural activities. When methane is oxidized as it reacts with oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. And just imagine methane reacting with oxygen and forming carbon dioxide. It means methane contributes about 80% of the warming power to this global warming that we're experiencing nowadays. And also, we also have carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is released from the burning of fossil fuels, also due to volcanic eruptions. When volcanic eruptions occur, we observe some gases released. Carbon dioxide is part of them. So when all of these gases combine together, they form a blanket in the atmosphere and make it difficult for us to survive. And so for us to survive, we need to try to mitigate and try to resolve all these problems. Thank you.
Of climate change. Mitigations are just like possible solutions of which we can use to reduce climate change, the effects of climate change in the environment. We have one, the practice of afforestation and reforestation. What is reforestation and afforestation? This is the planting of trees. When we plant these trees, once the trees grow, they start storing in carbon dioxide, which rather than it being released into the atmosphere, rather stored into those trees, reducing the effects of climate change. Also, we have the reduction of fuels which come out from cars. Nowadays we deal with urbanization, and urbanization we have new inventions like machines, use of fridges and cars. And once we use these cars, they remove gases such like they produce gases like methane and chlorofluorocarbons, and these gases are being emitted into the atmosphere, which causes climate change. So in order for the reduction of these gases in the atmosphere, we ought to reduce our consumption, our use of fridges, electrical fridges, cars, and all the like. Next, we also have the reduction of waste. For instance, once we have waste, we are not obliged to naturally burn the waste, because burning the waste definitely releases carbon monoxide into the atmosphere, which is a cause of climate change. So rather than burning waste, it's preferable to keep the waste to decay and become manure, which can be used for plant growth.
To conclude on this climate change, we have spoken on the measures in which we can cope with or we can manage the climate change, but these measures cannot be put in place instantly. So we can only practice some of these measures, we can only adapt to the climate change by doing the following ways. For example, we can say the government is enhancing the planting of trees in the northern part of the country, so this can reduce the desertification which is ongoing there. Also, I can see the use of ACs in our houses. That can help to reduce the amount of heat we feel. Also, we can see the creation of carbon-free cars, which helps to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Also, we can see the planting of green spaces in urban areas, which help to also absorb carbon dioxide in our urban areas. So this is the way we can use to cope or to manage climate change. Thank you.